steroids, hormone replacement therapy, psychiatric drugs, psychedelics. These are all aspects of something that I call transegoism. Transegoism is rejection of one's fundamental nature, rejection of the identity, a search for identity and meaning outside of oneself. If you feel the need to inject yourself with steroids, become a part of a hormone replacement therapy program, take psychiatric drugs, experiment with psychedelics, what you are doing is you're saying that your nature, your fundamental being, is not enough. You are not worthy enough on your own. The struggle against yourself does not provide you with adequate meaning. So you have to find that meaning, that source of strength outside of yourself. Whether it's through chemicals, such as in the examples I've given so far, or even with forms of entertainment, like playing video games all day long, creating these digital avatars, and you're placing your ego in something else. You are searching for meaning outside of yourself. Now the problem is, the ego does not disappear. You cannot dissolve the ego. Your dharma, your fundamental nature, that is your ego. And so if you are seeking meaning through rejection of the ego, all you're doing is you're taking that root of your being, that fundamental nature, and you are eroding it. You are creating a shaky foundation for your development as a person, as an individual. And so, if you approach this issue from a standpoint of consciousness, if you are trying to develop strength and power through the use of steroids, what you're doing is you are robbing yourself of the opportunity to struggle against your very nature. That struggle, that forcing yourself against the mountain of transcendence, the ascending path, that is how you develop your identity. That is how you develop your character. You cultivate the ego. And if you strip yourself of the right to cultivate the ego, all you're doing is you are decimating the self. You are saying that I am weak, I am insecure, I cannot possibly be worthy enough without this substance. If you're taking a spiritual perspective, because steroids, that's something that's rooted in the material, in the body, cultivating the body. Psychedelics, on the other hand, are something that is associated with the spirit, striving for spiritual attainment. The problem is, if you take a shortcut and you use psychedelic drugs in order to access the spirit, once again, what you're saying is that you do not have the power, you do not have the strength to attain those states of consciousness without some outside help. And so you are crushing the roots. If you are a tree and you're growing to a point of higher consciousness, your ego, your will, your understanding of your own value, that is the root of the growth. And if you cut out the roots, if you fail to water them properly, no matter what heights you may think you achieve through your trip, through the use of psychedelic drugs, it's all on a shaky foundation. And as soon as you no longer have access to that external source of power, the whole thing comes crumbling down. And it comes crumbling down because you lack a fully developed ego. If you want to be a truly strong individual, you must embrace the ego. You must cultivate the ego and build it to its strongest potential. That is the dharmic path. When I say dharma, I mean ego. Once you reach that point of transcendence, through struggling against yourself and building the ego, that is when you can walk the left-hand path. That is when you achieve self-realization and the ego becomes manifest, expressed to its fullest potential. So what I'm saying to you is, if you want to be a truly powerful person, if you want to express your will to power to its fullest potential, reject steroids, reject hormone replacement therapy, psychiatric drugs, psychedelics, putting your attention into video games or pornography or any of these things that are a surrogate for true achievement. Give yourself to yourself, cultivate the ego, and attain the highest level of strength and potential as a dharmic being.